Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James and it's time for another instructive chess miniature. In this one we're going to be seeing the young Judit Polgar just destroying her opponent in a beautiful game as black here. I really love this game. It's just very Morphy-esque. Develop your pieces, attack your opponent's king. Unfortunately, they just can't do anything about that. Alright, well let's go ahead and take a look. In this game, well, white started off with d4, knight f6, c4, c5. Here as my young days, especially for her, only 11 years old at the time of this game, she's trying to do the modern Benoni. And well, white didn't want to play against it. I don't know why. Maybe they were not prepped up for it. I mean, I think it's well known that when white goes into the main line with the Benoni with something like d5, well, not something like, when you play d5 and go into the modern Benoni, white has a very good win rate, especially at the highest level. I think it's like 40% or higher. That being said, white went ahead and just played knight f3. And I know as playing this as black, I'm very happy to see this. C takes d4, knight takes d4, and now this really cool idea of pawn to e5. I actually got to see this when I was younger, and here was a very nice idea for a gambit line. So e5 got played, attacking the knight. Knight went to b5, threatening to go knight d6 check, just like you see in the Sheshnikov. The idea is to try and get the check in here, and if you don't take with your bishop, well, you're going to have to move your king. So a lot of times bishop will take, and well, the dark squares are weak. I definitely like white here. With that being said, black has this really cool gambit idea playing pawn to d5, just trying to get the pieces out as soon as possible and definitely develop. Again, very Morphy-esque, sacrificing a pawn in the opening to get a good advantage for development. Well, if you don't take the pawn, you're just losing. C takes d5, and here the move that I love, bishop to c5 here. Of course, taking on d5 is a no-no, it's just a big blunder. White's moving when what do you play here? Simple chess. Here you just play queen takes on d5, and you see here you can't not take back or else knight c7 check. You're going to lose your piece right away. All right, well, back to the game. As I said, bishop c5 gets played, not falling for this simple trap, but here you see black is ready to castle, and well, white's king is very vulnerable. Yes, they are up an extra pawn, but they definitely got the compensation of it with development or getting their pieces out as soon as possible. All right, knight c3 got played, developing and defending the d5 pawn. Castles, pawn to g3. White's thinking they have all the time in the day just to go ahead and play bishop g2 and then castle here. And you know what? If I'm looking at this, I would say the same thing. It looks like white has plenty of time. Unfortunately, it's young Judith here, and she goes for the attack right away. Knight to g4. Here, a simple threat of knight takes on f2, or maybe even bishop takes on f2 check. And, well, white went ahead and played pawn e3. Again, another simplistic move. I'm not saying I like this one as much, but this does go into, well, what's going to be perfect for her. Here she starts a beautiful idea to put pressure on the f2 pawn. Actually, I'll give you a second. Black to move. Can you find the way to start spurring on the attack and start worrying your opponent as much as possible? Remember, you always want to be challenging your opponent and not let them do things so simple. What do you do here to continue the attack? Hopefully you see it. Here we have this nice idea of playing pawn to f5, just threatening to go pawn to f4, pawn to e4. I mean, we're just going to run down the board over here and just start our attack. And, well, white went ahead and played bishop g2 because why not? And, well, let's keep pushing forward here. Pawn to f4 and pawn to h3, asking for this next move. All right, black to move. What do you play here to start your attack? Again, feel free to push pause here and see if you can find the nice combination here to get the most compensation. All right, here we go. Here the move was knight takes on f2 exclam, and now black is going to have a really fun time in this chess game. Be careful if you're looking at pawn takes on e3. This actually is not too good here for black. After h takes g4, e takes on f2, and then king f1. Now we have what's called the umbrella pawn. You really just hide behind the pawn, and well, black doesn't have enough here. Here it's already giving a +6 advantage, meaning you're up a rook and a pawn here. So be careful with the sacrifice. Knight takes f2 is perfect timing. We're trying to open up the f file and get this king as weak as possible. So, well, if you don't take back, you're just going to be losing the exchange because we are forking the rook and the queen here. So, king takes on f2, and now f takes on e3 double check. Here you can see that the second rank is falling, and well, this is where all the problems are going to start. King back to e1. Rook to f2, this free move right here, attacking the bishop. Now the bishop needs to move out the way, or at least get defended. Here white went ahead and chose rook to g1. And now the pieces come in beautifully and start just making threats each move. Here queen f8, a nice idea. You can see that there's ideas with like maybe something like rook takes on b2, threatening queen to f2 for checkmate. And well, this queen, if she can get in here, it's just going to be game over. All right, white went ahead and played queen to d3. And here, there's some ideas about trying to go pawn grabbing, and well, this could be done. But here, the best attackers know that what you're supposed to do in these kinds of positions is keep developing your pieces. With that being said, she does not waste any time. Knight to a6, threatening something like knight to b4 here, attacking the queen and the pawn here on d5. All right, a3 got played to stop it. That's okay. More reinforcements. Here we go. Develop with the threat. Bishop to f5 over here, developing the light square bishop and attacking the queen now. Here, white tried to defend with bishop e4, the best chance. And here, bishop takes, queen takes. If you do try to play knight takes on e4, which does look like a good move, here it attacks the rook and the bishop. Here, black will continue with something like queen to f3, and you can see that, well, again, checkmate ideas are in the air, and it's not so simple just to go start trading pieces, as now, after knight takes e5, a lot of these squares are falling quite fast. Queen takes on e3, and here just a simple move, knight to d3 check, winning the queen. Oof. So the queen went to e4 here, and well, let's keep it going. Here the idea is the same. We want to bring the knight into the game. But, well, how do you get it in there? Simple chess. You just got to move a piece out the way. Bishop d4, now allowing knight to c5. You can see that this knight has some juicy squares to go to and gets a free tempo off the queen. Bishop takes on e3, and now it's game over. Knight c5. Bishop takes on d4. And pawn takes on d4 here. Yes, you could go grabbing the queen here, but it's actually not the best move here. After knight takes on e4, here white has plenty of pieces. Knight takes on e4, and now they're threatening to take on f2. Here black is still winning, but it's still going to take a little time, especially if you let these pieces start organizing. With that being said, after e takes on d4, you're allowing the last piece to get into the game with the rook coming in, and yeah, all these pieces are just far too active. And when you look around here, all you see is sleeping pieces or pieces that are not doing too much. And, well, queen took on d4 because, well, yeah, it's threatened to win the knight here unless you want to move the knight, allowing the pin. Just not going to happen. So queen takes on d4, and now we just bring the final piece in. Rook e8 check, king to d1, and here queen f3 check. And this is going to be leading to checkmate in 5 moves. And at this point, white went ahead and threw in the towel, and Judith is definitely making a good name for herself, only at 11 years old. If you want to see the quick checkmate, it's going to be king to c1, knight to d3 check. Here you have to sacrifice your queen, or else rook takes b2 is just going to be checkmate. So queen takes, and now, well, there's no good way to stop the queen to e2 checkmate. We're just giving up pieces here and just sacrificing for no good reason. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this very nice miniature by one of the world's strongest female chess players. We'll see you in the next video.